Hey everyone!
Hey!
Hi, it's me, your mother. How are you?
And it's me, your baby sister.
Oh, this is so cute.
Goo goo gaga.
Goo goo gaga. Oh, God, I have postpartum.
We really need to get an adult baby.
We do.
On our show.
We absolutely
We're
do.
almost at episode 100 and
We are.
still have not
haven't.
gotten an adult baby on this show.
Absolutely not.
They never respond back to me.
Well, you know what?
Ever.
I think it's...
Jenna's been on this mission for a while.
I have been on this mission, but you know what? I also think it's like this sense of privacy, you know? It's okay,
So-
for example, like people who are into different types of kinks
Yeah.
or like into BDSM.
Yeah.
Like that's a very vulnerable thing. And like when you're playing like role playing as a baby, that's a very vulnerable thing.
Absolutely.
It is, but the ones I'm reaching out to have Instagram accounts. So
They do.
But do
they're
they
not that
show their
private.
faces?
yeah.
They do. And like here's my thing. I want to get one on so bad that like I would change their identity and change their voice.
I thought you were
Yeah,
going to say
we would,
change
like-
their diaper.
Well, that
Distort
too.
them.
I will happily for our Patreon.
Oh, my Patreon.
Listen, I'll try anything twice.
For our Patreon members, I will change an adult baby's diaper.
Yeah, that's like top tier, though. That's like top tier.
Yeah.
Just so y'all know.
Are there any babies in your story?
Oh, my God.
No, but you know,
Are there any kinky people in your story?
I mean, it could be a little kinky, but it'd be a fucked up kink.
All right.
That's for
Okay.
sure.
Ooh.
Well, I have two questions, and
I love when there's like multiple questions.
Oh, God. I can't
So
wait.
this is a little more time sensitive because this takes place around Halloween. It's not Halloween based, but it
Okay.
is Halloween-ish.
Oh,
And we
okay.
are in Halloween season.
We are in Halloween
You know.
season.
We are. Trick or
But-
treat, bitch.
Smell my feet.
What was like your favorite Halloween costume?
I'm going to go with what I did last year. It was very creative. So I went as Kim Kardashian from Met Gala.
Yes.
When she wore the all black and had like the black face mask.
I love
And I
that.
never will forget that moment watching it live unfold on TV, her on the red carpet and being like, that is my Halloween costume.
Yeah.
You even had the train. Like you
Yeah.
had the outfit perfect.
I have to say,
I was
though,
laughing when I saw the train.
It took a lot of time and a lot of bobby pins.
Yeah.
And Jerry did a phenomenal job of pinning me into it. And I know you're both excited for our Halloween costume this year, which we're not telling anybody.
Oh, my
Top
God.
secret.
Yup.
Let me
Bizarre
tell you.
Buffet is going to put it
Yes.
out there for all of you to see. Mark and Mark both know exactly what it is.
And it's amazing.
It's amazing. And it
For so
falls
many reasons.
into the Bizarre Buffet realm. That's all I will
It
say.
really does.
Yeah, it really does.
Mark, what about you? What was your favorite Halloween
Yeah,
costume?
Mark with the C.
I remember a couple years ago when we lived in our last place, I dressed up as Mark. Here, Mark with a K. It was a lot of fun. That's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah.
What about you, Mark?
I've had a few iconic costumes.
Oh,
One of my favorites was I was Gizmo from Gremlins.
And I am
that was
actually
cool.
looking at Gizmo right now. That's
yes.
He's in the
up
room
on the
with
shelf.
us.
He is in the room with us.
For those of you watching, we'll insert a photo
Yeah.
of it, but this was part of Mark's costume one year.
Yeah, I was Gizmo from Gremlins.
He's
And
like the Bizarre Buffet mascot, I feel.
He
It really
is.
is. Him and Gonk.
Gizmo on the runway.
Gizmo on the runway, right? You've been cobwebs many years.
Oh, I used to like take, the fake cobwebs and I would cobweb an entire suit. Like, so every individual garment was covered in cobwebs.
Yeah,
And
it
it
was
looked
fun.
really high fashion.
It did.
One Halloween, we went out to like QXT's. My cobwebs kept getting stuck on everyone's costumes. So it became...
Didn't someone call your costume selfish?
Yeah. So this one woman was like next to me, and like I was like caught on her with the freaking cobwebs. I was like trying to pull it off her because I felt bad, and I was like, "You're
caught in my web."
You're caught in my web. I guess I'm a spider this Halloween." And she's like, "I think it's a selfish costume."
Ew,
Like, I think you're
rude.
She
What
was
a
like,
dick.
I think she was drunk, but I think she was like, I think your costume is selfish.
Well, I think your face is
I
selfish.
think you're selfish.
Yeah.
And my second question is, if you were to encounter a monster or a person from a horror movie, which person would you be the most afraid to encounter?
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers, that's a good one.
It's the whole just franchise that gets me still to this day.
Yeah.
Even though I know that his mask is William Shatner turned inside out, but it's just like the music.
Yeah.
And just like how quiet he is and how he moves so silently. And every time like I see his like the mask or somebody dressed as Michael Myers, like to this day, like still freaks me the fuck out.
I get it.
He's dork.
Yeah, he's dork-sided.
If you have to ask me my favorite horror franchise, it's Halloween, but I am absolutely terrified of Michael Myers. I think that's why I love it so much.
Yeah, I mean, I like that though. That means that the character is doing what it was intended to do.
Absolutely.
Right. I think for me, Linda Blair in The Exorcist.
You know,
I would not want to encounter that bitch.
I was going to say that. I'll never forget the first time I watched The Exorcist. I did not sleep for a week straight.
Yeah, I believe it. I do. That movie was always one that really bothered me. And it's not because I'm religious or anything. That character and what she did and how she acted. It is. It's very uncomfortable. There's something about it. Like, I understand why people in the 70s, when like they didn't see anything, were like, people are leaving the theater throwing up. You know, and everybody's barfing at the movie theater because of Linda Blair's portrayal, you know? It was one of those movies that, like, at any age, like, if I watch it and then I'm alone, I'm, like, a little creeped out.
The theme song, though, I find to be very calming in a weird way.
Oh, I love that.
Tubular Bells.
Yeah, Tubular Bells. Actually, the other night, Jerry and I played that and the Halloween theme song, like, back to back, and I was like, Tubular Bells is very therapeutic, and I don't know. I think I might prefer it over the Halloween theme song.
Well,
I
get
love
this.
that.
Do you remember in like the 90s they made these CDs called Pure Moods?
Yeah.
So I had one of them.
Did it have Tubular Bells on it?
It
Shut
had
up,
Tubular
did it?
Bells on it on Pure Moods. Yeah.
Why?
Pure Moods Volume 1.
Pure
has,
Moods
God.
Volume 1?
That's
Tubular
great.
Bells, yeah.
Wow.
Fun little fact.
That is kind of ridiculous. I love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
For me, the one I would be the most afraid of encountering is Candyman. He scares the shit out of me.
That's another
Candyman.
one, yeah. Mark, don't even start.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, listen, every so often I do it to Mark and I'll go, Candyman.
Just stop. Just stop.
Everybody, if you want
And
me to
it's
say
like-
it 5 times, go to Patrick.
I don't know. Like,
And we will put Mark Bluestein in a room that's padlocked,
Yeah.
and you can watch what happens.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be
I have no
involved in
part.
any way, shape,
Hold
or
on
form.
a second. I have something to tell you guys. Candyman.
well, there's no mirrors in here, so we're talking about Halloween.
Yeah.
We're talking kind of about horror movies.
Yeah.
For the topic of this episode, I have to say this is probably one of the most bizarre topics I'm covering in the history of Bizarre Buffet.
Really?
Because this topic, in my opinion, is truly an all-you-can-eat weird.
Oh.
It is dark.
Trademark.
So, just to preface this, we have a psychic, we have a set of twins, we have a murder, and we have Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th.
Wait, is
Oh,
this going to be
shit.
like a Halloween party from hell? Are we going to a Halloween party?
We're not going to a
Oh
Halloween
my God.
party.
Okay, we can take off our
Actually,
masks.
Halloween
We're
was
not?
actually canceled the year that all this
Oh,
happened.
God.
What year?
1988.
Holy shit.
Ooh, the year before I was born.
The year after.
And
So I was
I'm
here
a few
for it.
years later after that because I'm youthful.
You're a young.
Unlike these old biddies. Although I'm the one with the least amount of hair, it's fine. Calling everybody else old, calling myself out.
Exactly.
Let's start off with the villain of this story.
Was it Jason Voorhees?
Sort of, yeah. In its own way.
All right, I gotta stop because I'm like gonna crack the case.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Jen's
So-
always cracking the case.
We're going to talk about a guy named Mark Branch. There's not really a lot of information out there about this topic. So I will say this, there was not a lot of information out there on this.
Okay.
You know, there was like a True Crime Network special thing. It was like 7 minutes long that I found on YouTube, and I had to go on to a few articles and like Reddit and like Dead Journal, Live Journal.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, so kind of old. Okay, so Mark Branch was a 19-year-old guy from Greenfield, Massachusetts. Greenfield is a very small town. I think the population at the time was like 19,000. He had a history of emotional trouble starting at a very early age.
Oh, I already know where this story is going.
He was never like officially diagnosed with anything. He was a student for a short time at New Salem Academy. He ended up leaving to get care at McLean Hospital. His parents, Betty and Richard, didn't speak much to the public about him or the murder that he committed.
See, I knew where this was going.
Oh, God.
Emotional problems.
Emotional problems.
I have them too.
Me 3.
Me 4. Well, this guy, Mark, was very socially awkward.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
He was very Jeffrey Dahmer-y.
Oh, boy.
But his awkwardness also leaned more towards an aggressive side.
Oh. Uh-oh.
People that knew him mentioned that he was bullied a lot because of his awkwardness and his like extreme fascination of horror movies. There's a clue for you there.
Fascinating.
Kind of reminds me of, what is it, Scream, when he's like, what's your favorite scary movie?
Maybe that's what he went around saying.
Maybe.
He allegedly would speak about his fantasies of killing people.
Oh, whimsical.
Very whimsical.
See, again, I told you where this story was going.
He would always like stress to other people that he had this like curiosity of like, what is it like to kill someone?
Wow.
To murder someone.
Is it like one of those, like, to justify that they have this sick obsession, that they have to constantly, like, say
Like-
that to people?
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to get it off his chest. And I think he really just wanted to kill someone. The annoying
Does he
thing
kill
is,
someone?
Life is nothing
Yeah, he
without
does.
passion.
he's a murderer, this one. What's also annoying is that, you know, he was very vocal about his curiosity to kill people. And no one really took it seriously. They were just like, oh, he's just
Yeah.
weird.
Oh, he's just a little odd.
Yeah, he's a little off.
He's a little oddball.
When Mark was in high school, one Halloween, he hid in the bushes while wearing a Jason Voorhees mask and waited.
Here we go.
Yep. Just for the record, for YouTube, I'm wearing a Jason Voorhees t-shirt. Yeah, so one Halloween he like hid in the bushes wearing a hockey mask.
Did he come out with a chainsaw?
No, he came out with a knife. But he popped out of the bushes as like a girl passed by and he chased after her.
Oh, what a frightening
And-
experience for her.
Yeah, oh yeah. And he tripped and fell. She got away. He later then told his friend, you know, had he not tripped, he probably would have killed her.
Wow. That's something.
That's
And his friend was like,
Mark.
"Oh, Mark, you're so silly.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You're silly, Billy."
and it's so weird because him and I have the same first name.
Oh,
He's
not.
Mark with a K.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
Yeah.
say, oh, I'm not included here.
Mark, you should know by now, you and I are never included in anything.
No,
in
we're
life.
not. We're the outcasts. We're the.
We're the outcasts.
Yes. We get locked in the attic with the
With Haley Joel Osment
Haley.
in The Sixth Sense. And
We
have
see dead people. Yeah.
It's funny because you mentioned, you know, we're talking about horror movies and you were talking about Scream. You know, like what's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, don't tell me he would call people and ask them.
Oh God.
He kind of would.
Oh, shit.
And now all this happened before the Scream
Clairvoyant.
franchise. 'cause
Was
it's-
this based off a Scream?
Well, no, because this was 1988, but it wouldn't surprise me if Scream took a page from this, or
Okay.
Wes Craven, or like the writers. You know, I can't clarify if they did or not,
Yeah.
but I could see it leaning in that
The
direction.
connection. Yeah.
When he was in high school, he used to keep files, like his own file system on certain students in the school. He would call them and basically talk to them on the phone, leaving death threats, but he would use his files to, you know, say things like, I know you have a dog that's like in the backyard from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. I know you guys had chicken for dinner. Like, I'm making these examples up, but
Well,
that
call
was
back to Cindy James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he kind
Dead
of
meat.
he had a
Dead
little bit of
meat.
like a stalking-esque kind of vibe to him, you
Oh
could
boy,
say.
he was a little problematic. One could say.
One time he put a scaffold through a photograph of one of the students in his high school and put it in her locker to terrorize her.
Wait, he put a scaffold.
Like, you know, like the scaffold like that they use in like medical stuff. It's like the long
Scalpel.
scalpel.
Oh, a scalpel.
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 A scalpel.
You know what?
Okay.
How do you say it? No, we're not going to delete it.
No,
but-
because I'm going to tell you a funny story about this.
Yeah.
It is a scalpel.
with the P.
Really?
Yes. And I was doing it. This has nothing to do with this story, but I was doing improv. I was doing it with like a group of people. We were doing it live in front of an audience, and we were supposed to be like in a medical room.
Okay.
And I'm like calling different tools, and I said scaffolds instead of scalpel.
Oh, it's scaffold.
But like everyone thought it was fucking hilarious that the rest of the improvisers like played off of that for like the rest of,
I love it.
of like our little bit that we did.
What a weird.
So it's
It's
scaffold.
scalpel,
Oh, I've never had to use that word until today.
No.
not scaffold, but I've done it before too.
So, yeah, he put a scalpel through her photo and left it in her locker. He would also write letters to certain girls in the school about how he would murder them.
How romantic.
Eventually, he was pulled out of the school. But again, it's like, okay, you're leaving death threats, you're putting scaffolds in people's pictures and going into their lockers. Why is nothing being done?
Because it was the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, he's just troubled.
And
no big deal.
in the parents' defense, they did try. Like, they actually tried. They tried to get him help. He went to, public school, then he went to private alternative school, and then he went into programs for emotionally disturbed teens and children. The common thing that was most identifiable about Mark was his obsession with horror movies. Now, when he was 18 years old, he worked at a local grocery store, and he would also work occasionally at a local video rental store called Video Expo 1.
I miss a good video rental store.
Oh my
Miss that
gosh.
shit.
I miss that shit. Like Blockbuster. I used to,
man.
weekends, like go rent a movie or two.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And then the boxes that would be missing, and then you'd be so disappointed because nothing would be behind it.
Exactly. And
And
you
you're
wanted
like-
to watch that movie so bad. But
Oh, yeah.
Mark, did he have a favorite horror movie?
He did.
Oh.
He had an obsession
With Friday the 13th.
with Friday the 13th.
Oh,
He was
Surprise.
surprise. No, he had like this sickening obsession with Jason Voorhees that I'm going to
Get
tell
a
you guys
room.
about. But get a room.
Yeah.
Get a cabin.
Get a cabin.
Cabin on the lake.
But allegedly, one of the former employees did mention that he always rented horror films, stating that he said, the gorier, the better.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, listen.
Yeah. Hey,
There's nothing wrong with gore.
No, there are plenty of people who enjoy it.
Yeah.
It was also said that his bedroom his bedroom sounds fucking awesome because his room was filled with horror memorabilia, horror replicas, hundreds of like horror magazines, probably like Fangoria. He also had quite the collection of, hockey masks. So very cool. It's just a
Yeah.
shame that he was, a complete nut job and a psychopath.
Yeah, a crazy killer.
There's people like us, who collect that sort of stuff, but we're not going around killing people.
No.
No,
So,
exactly. So
you-
there is a difference.
Yeah, you can't blame the movies.
No, you can't.
You
It's
can't.
like blaming music. Like you can't.
That's like how they tried to blame NSYNC Clown Posse for the Columbine shootings.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Whoop whoop. Whoop whoop. It's
Juggalos.
Juggalos.
So now we have like the killer, right?
Yeah.
Now the other thing I mentioned is that we have twins, which is funny because Jen just did an
Just
episode about
our
twins.
last episode was about the amazing silent twins.
Yeah.
So we kind of are getting back on the same menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah, a little bit, honestly.
We are.
Wow.
Satellites are like, wah, wah, wah. So let's talk about these twins. Their names were Sharon and Cheryl Gregory.
Sharon and Cheryl.
Sharon and Cheryl.
Gregory.
Now,
That's a hard mouthful.
It is.
It's going to be hard for me to say.
And
for
they're
sure.
twins.
And they're twins. Sharon and Cheryl were twin sisters who knew Mark. They were both from the same community. They had similar circle of friends. They were both acquainted with Mark. They weren't like friends with him, but they were acquainted.
Okay.
They knew him through their social circles. I will say this: one of the twins dies, and she's murdered by Mark.
Oh.
And
Surprise.
Yeah.
Saw where this one was
Yeah.
going too.
Oh boy.
So-
They broke their twin connection.
Just like the Givens.
just like the Gibbons.
Just like June and Jennifer.
Unfortunately, it was Sharon that was murdered.
Well,
But-
she didn't take her life. She got murdered.
She got murdered.
Murdered.
So at the time before Sharon's murder, which took place on October 24th of 1988,
So right before Halloween.
right before Halloween,
Getting ready.
a week prior.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just yawned.
She was a psychology major at the local college. Sharon had always felt that there was something a little bit off about Mark.
No shit, Sherlock.
No shit. Yeah. Smart girl.
Yeah, tuned in, dialed in.
She definitely was like, okay, there's something wrong with him. And from that, she kind of, she didn't have like an obsession with him, but she was intrigued by him because he was a little bit off, right? And she studied psychology.
Yeah, so she kind of like, it was like a case study.
Yeah, well, quite literally, because it gets a little murky, but allegedly, as a result of this kind of intrigue that she had, she did write a psychological profile.
Really?
Yeah. On him.
Oh shit! Does it exist?
Yes and no.
Okay.
It's not out there for the public, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh,
And she made this profile. She shared it with him, and this is where it gets murky. But allegedly, after this profile was made, he wanted possession of it, and he said he would do anything to get possession of this profile, which I guess in this case included murder.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Oh shit. Sharon.
Mark.
Mark.
This is where Mark really goes overboard and a little nuts. But on the 24th of October, he ended up driving to her family's home in Greenfield, dressed in full-on Jason Voorhees costume, hockey mask, the jumpsuit, combat boots.
Oh god.
Like full-on
I'm
Jason.
scared.
Yep. He got there at 12 noon, which I think is a weird time to kill someone. Like,
yeah.
It's like he woke up in the morning, got ready, and was like, okay.
I don't know.
All right,
Sorry,
time to dress as Jason.
If you're going to be dressed as Jason Voorhees and do that, wouldn't you want to do it at nighttime?
Yeah.
I mean,
set
in the woods.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not condoning his
But I mean, cinematically,
murder.
from a cinematic perspective, you know,
It's just not authentic. Right.
No.
Once he arrived, he somehow managed to get inside, and he chased Sharon up the stairs into the bathroom. Once he got her into the bathroom, she locked the door. He somehow managed to get inside, and he brutally stabbed her to death in the head, the abdomen, and her chest.
Oh god.
He also slashed her throat.
Oh, you fucker.
Mm-hmm. The weapon was not found at the scene, but it was quite obvious that it was done with a knife. The blood was not just in the bathroom, but it made its way into the hallway and the steps.
Oh boy.
Now, the police chief of 25 years said it was the grossest killing of his time.
Oh, the grossest.
And I'm just like, that's a weird...
The grossest killing of all time.
Wow. I've never seen a killing quite as gross as this one.
And the sad thing is that the person that found the body was her twin sister, Cheryl.
Oh, no.
Which is really upsetting. I know.
That's awful.
You know, Cheryl was very smart because she immediately informed the police. She was like, look, I think I know who did it. It's this guy, Mark Branch.
Good for her. That's cool as fuck.
And, you know, before her sister, Sharon, was murdered, Sharon told Cheryl that Mark creeped her out by how he would stare at her. The police afterwards, they immediately went to Mark's home. He wasn't there. So now we're like, where's this guy? Where's Mark?
Yeah, looking for some camp counselors.
And his mother, you know, did speak to the police. They let them in, but he was missing. When the parents let the police in to the house, they went to his bedroom and they were like, oh my God, there's all this horror movie stuff. He clearly did it. He clearly killed this person because he has horror movie posters and, you know, Jason memorabilia. Automatically now we're kind of going into the Satanic Panic.
Yeah, and that was the time for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was like the flagship time of Satanic Panic. They automatically blamed it on the horror movies. And that pisses me off because it's like, okay, yes, he did it, but it wasn't because of the horror movies.
It wasn't like the horror movies told him to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, like any other art form, like movie, music, anything else, you know, these are simply expressions. They're not conduits of like a mass destruction.
Right.
Exactly.
Like if you are emotionally unwell or anything to that effect, you're going to be that way regardless of what you like. You can like Disney. Lord knows there is a case of this family who lived in Disney because they were obsessed, and the husband killed all the family and lived with the corpses in the bedroom.
I've heard that story.
Oh, I've never heard that.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. If you want to hear about this story, let us know.
Disney Channel should do something.
Oh, yeah.
It's
They
a Cherry
should.
Family.
After Hocus
Oh my
Pocus,
God.
too.
After Hocus Pocus 2.
Yeah, which sucked.
I didn't see it, so don't say anything.
Oh, God. I won't.
I haven't watched it yet.
I'm interested to hear what you think.
I'm sure I'm going to hate it, but
But, you want to find out on your own.
yeah, exactly.
I respect that.
After they go to his room and he's like obviously the prime suspect and they can't find him, Mark's friends did speak about their concerns that he might be going on a little bit of a Jason Voorhees killing spree.
Oh, boy.
Which spread a lot of fear and panic in the town and the tri-state area. Everyone in a freaking Halloween costume could potentially be Mark.
So were they like grabbing kids on the street, like, hey, hey, kid?
Were they like going after anyone dressed as Jason Voorhees?
Yeah,
or just everybody in general?
Pandemonium.
Because how many Jason films were out at this point in time? Probably a
like
lot.
7.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is like you can easily hide behind a mask.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is the costume to hide in, right? Like your face is covered.
Yeah.
So people were literally calling the police left and right anytime they would see someone in a costume or a hockey mask, which was a very popular costume because that was like the peak of the franchise.
Yeah, that was its heyday.
So the town basically had to cancel Halloween because they were like, he might go on this like Halloween killing spree.
So was there like a curfew in town and stuff? And
yeah. People like were told like, don't keep your porch light on, don't encourage trick or treating.
Put out the sign that says "out of candy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like the town theater, like I think Halloween 4 was supposed to come out that week.
Oh.
And the theater ended up canceling, having like showing Halloween Part 4.
So Michael Myers had to be canceled because of this fuckhead.
It's a Jason.
Oh, this motherfucker.
Thanks.
What good marketing though for the Jason franchise.
So in the search for Mark, they did find his car the day after the murder. It was 13 miles outside of Greenfield. It was parked near the woods, and they found blood in the car. The blood did match the blood of Sharon.
Oh, poor Sharon.
So now we have like DNA evidence. Like they're not just saying, "Oh, he did it" because he likes horror movies. Like now he actually did it. Like there's scientific proof.
Yeah, but it sounds like though in the event that he didn't, they were trying to paint a picture from the beginning.
Yeah.
Which is kind of concerning because it's like innocent until proven fucking guilty,
Of course,
bitch.
of course.
But that's not a thing, I guess, in America at least.
And I feel like this is a common theme that happens to like characters or people that are ostracized.
Yeah.
Or different,
Absolutely. And what's unfortunate is that like in this particular case, he did unfortunately murder somebody, which is so fucked.
Yeah.
But, there are plenty of cases where people who are innocent, who have these same interests are, convicted of murder and things like that. I mean, look at Corpsewood Manor. Call back to another episode.
Exactly.
Or Lord of the Wigs.
Lord of the Wigs, Phil Spector. Phil Spector, all day long. We were just rewatching a documentary.
And we were just talking about him before we recorded.
We were. R.I.P. Phil.
We think he's innocent.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
And I will march in the parade. Absolutely.
All right. So remember how I said there was like different elements in this, and then one of the final elements is a psychic. So it's like,
Did they hire a psychic to try and find Mark?
yeah, they did.
Oh, stop.
They did.
Well,
So
you know what's funny? Like I've always been fascinated with hiring psychics to like solve a murder crime.
Yeah, and it's a very kind of like, it seemed more so like in the 80s, 90s,
Yeah.
like that, like police, like how is it that a police department kind of is like, yeah, a psychic? Absolutely
I've
makes
always
sense.
found that really interesting that they use psychics.
Absolutely. It's fascinating.
And I think it could be helpful, but I think 99% of the time they're cold reading.
Well,
I think.
Yeah. Let us know on Instagram.
Yeah.
Do you think psychics are real? Are you a psychic?
Do you want to come on our show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If so,
Let us know.
exactly. There you go. Inbox us.
So they ended up hiring a psychic. Part of the reason is because he has been successful in these sort of things. His name is John Monty, and he was from Massachusetts.
Aw, John the psychic.
John Monty, the psychic. Yes, John. Work, girl.
In the past, he's had some successes, in his psychic work. For example, and most famous, in March of 1981, he predicted on a radio show that I guess President Reagan He's a total asshole.
Fuck him. Burn in
Hate him.
hell, you cunt.
He's a bastard. He predicted on a radio show that Reagan would be shot by the end of March,
Interesting.
but that he would survive. He also said that he would be shot on the left side after doing a speech in Washington.
Oh, shit. Was John Monty the shooter?
No, wasn't it someone of the Manson family that was part of that?
Was
No,
it?
I'll tell you who it was.
Oh,
God. Or somebody was... never mind.
There was a connection
There's
to
a
one of
weird
the Mansons, Squeaky from.
Squeaky with who?
I forget who the politician was, but you are correct. They
Okay.
did go after somebody.
Okay.
So John was kind of right because on March 30th, Reagan was shot by John Hinckley Jr. And he was shot on the left side.
Oh, Jody Foster. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that
Yep. So John Hinckley Jr. shot Reagan on the left side after Reagan did a speech in Washington, D.C. John Hinckley Jr. did this because he was trying to impress Jody Foster
Call back to Taxi Driver.
because he was
Oh my
obsessed with the movie
Taxi Driver. Martin Scorsese
Oh my
or
God.
Scorsese?
It's Scorsese. And you know what's actually really funny? I was just saying to Jerry, that is such a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
I always forget how good of a fucking movie that is.
It is. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's a great
It
film.
might be time to revisit it soon.
Yeah, Bizarre Buffet Movie
Yeah.
Night.
Maybe we'll do a reading of Taxi Driver.
We should.
I want to play De Niro.
Okay, I'm going to be Jodie Foster.
I want to be the taxi.
I knew that's exactly what
cute.
you're gonna say.
Beep, beep.
So basically, he did this to impress Jodie Foster, and I'm like, you're barking up the wrong lesbian.
Oh my god.
I do have to say this. So when I was doing my research and I kind of went down this rabbit hole, back in November of last year, so 2021, Jodie Foster was asked by the Hollywood Observer if she was actually impressed by John Hinckley
Oh, what did
Jr.'s
she-
attempt to
what did
kill
she
Ronald
say?
Reagan.
What did she
And
say?
her response was, truth be told, I was a little impressed.
Oh, yay, yay, yay. Jodie Foster's icon.
Jodie Foster's awesome.
Icon. Now, out Lord. That's my favorite film.
Yeah, well, unfortunately,
Reagan lived. Yeah.
Reagan lived. It was an unsuccessful attempt.
Oh, good job, John.
This psychic also did predict other things about O.J. Simpson. So
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, he said that there was like a secret weapon hidden on the property, and it was in the yard. And then I think in 2014 they were like renovating, and they
Shut up, Ned.
they were digging the backyard, and they found like a knife.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I mean, this is all hearsay.
Fascinating.
So they call John for this case, right, to help track Mark Branch. And they present him with a photo of Sharon, the victim, and nothing else. Now, upon looking at the photo, he was like, I feel violence. But in my opinion, it's like, okay, you have a homicide detective handing over a photo of a young, beautiful girl, a young woman, to someone. It's like, of course she was fucking murdered.
Well,
And
exactly.
murder is peaceful.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
So,
also,
cold
it's like,
reading.
yeah, you're a psychic, let's use air quotes, psychic, and you're being called by a police department to help with something. I mean, it's clearly not a celebration or a surprise party, right?
Right.
Like,
And also with like the Reagan prediction, it's like, oh, he was shot on the left side. Well, you always aim for the left because that's where the heart is. Also, not for nothing, but it's like, okay, he's the president. He's going to be doing a lot of his speeches where in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So I feel like he did these really broad general things and they happen to line up.
yes. And it's also the type of thing where, like, you look at, controversial people,
yeah.
he was, a Trump.
Yeah.
He had a lot of people who did not like him, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, John the Psychic also, when he was holding the photo, this is where it gets a little bit weird. Where you have to kind of start like, maybe he's a psychic.
Oh, shit, really?
Maybe he's not.
Maybe he's not. Like, that's
Okay.
up to
Little
us
more,
to decide. But he's holding the photo, and in his head, he keeps hearing the word Jason.
Shut up.
He keeps hearing the word Jason.
What?
Wait, I have a question
Yeah.
before we go on to this a little bit deeper. Was he aware of this Mark who was obsessed with Jason Voorhees?
Okay, so I
good
thought
question.
I thought the same thing too. But there was not enough time. So I think they did this a few days after the murder.
Okay.
So I would say it was probably like a week in. People knew that someone was murdered, but I don't think they knew the extent that he was like obsessed with Jason Voorhees.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I feel as though that would be like information that, you know, how, you know, they're not allowed to speak about certain aspects of a case because it could compromise the investigation,
Right.
essentially. Not to say that that's never done, because clearly I'm sure it is many times and it's been proven, but you know, I feel as though giving out that kind of information would not be okay,
Right.
typically speaking.
Yeah. Now, during this, he also got flashes of confusing images, but he knew exactly where the cops needed to go.
Oh.
So he took the investigators to the same area where Mark's car was found, but walked them into the forest where they came across an abandoned slaughterhouse. They ended up going inside the slaughterhouse and they found drawings all over the walls on the inside, one including a man wearing a hockey mask murdering a woman on a set of stairs, which is very similar to the
God.
murder.
Was this like Mark's lair?
It could have been.
Okay.
It totally could have been his lair.
God.
Under the
Wow.
like the stick figure picture, there was like, you know, graffiti under it or a title, and it said "A death by intention."
Oh.
There was also other like graffiti inside the slaughterhouse, like it said Crystal Lake, and there was another one that said Jason Lives, which is like one of the
And
sequels.
one of the movies, yeah.
Kind of like shit like that. But I will say this, take that with a grain of salt, because that place could have been like a popular hangout where like
Right.
teens vandalized it.
Well,
and
that's
they were
exactly
like,
what I was just about to follow up with, was that could be a place where kids just kind of want to go chill and drink and do the things you're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
When you're a kid.
Exactly. Mine was Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Hi, Cheryl.
Call back to Judy Smith.
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
And then there was like other horror movie stuff that was like Freddy Lives. So I mean, like it
Oh.
could have been him, but it could have been the kids.
You go to any abandoned place and
There's always,
there's
I mean,
always weird shit like that.
there's
on walls.
always a pentacle.
Yeah.
Always.
There's always like an upside down cross, and I'm like, I feel welcome here.
So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah, we're
666
safe.
written on the walls.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. There's certain things that are just like always there.
Yeah.
You know?
After they discovered this slaughterhouse, they did a search of the forest. They couldn't find anything, and then the town went into a frenzy again. Now we're fueling the Satanic Panic agenda, and we have chaos.
Yeah.
From this chaos comes vigilantes, local hunters going out hunting for Mark. But in my opinion, I don't think they were trying to restore justice. I think they were just trying to inflict violence for the sake of inflicting violence.
1,000,000 fucking %. It just gave them an excuse to go
Yeah.
out on their obsessed god warrior rants and fucking kill somebody because they're just different kinds of psychos.
Like, I think vigilantes like that, I don't think they really care about the victim. I think they're just trying to be violent for the sake of being
absolutely.
violent.
It gives
or
them
be heroes.
Yeah, it gives them an excuse to be violent without getting in trouble for it, because if they were to catch this person and kill them, they would be like, oh well, you know.
So after a few days, they can't find anything. John Monty, the psychic, goes back to the detectives and the police, and he says, I know exactly where Mark Branch is now. I had a vision of him hanging himself in a tree in that forest.
No.
So
Did they
is
find
it
him
true?
dead and hanging?
So on November 29th, 1988,
What?
so about like a month after Halloween, a hunter by the name of Kevin Purrington goes out hunting for deer, and he came across a decomposing body hanging from a tree. The man was hanging by bootlaces and a belt.
Was there a Jason Voorhees mask on his?
I
kind
hope
of.
so.
I don't know. There are some things saying that there was, and there's some things saying that there wasn't.
Oh,
Okay.
God. I want to know.
But John did predict that he was going to be hanging from laces and a belt.
Oh,
Which,
John.
Which he was. And
John Monty.
some places say that he was wearing a hockey mask, and then some say he wasn't. The cause of death was intentional hanging. There was an autopsy done. They believe that he most likely hung himself on the 24th of October, which is the same day that he killed Sharon.
Oh, holy shit.
So
that's
basically,
eerie.
when they did the search, they just did a shitty job because they didn't find him.
Yeah.
But then also there's speculation that, okay, it could have been vigilantes, because if there was a hockey mask on him, maybe they did that to mock him or to mock Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
I don't think these backwoods people are that clever,
Yeah.
but okay.
And the only place I saw anything mentioning him, the corpse, having a hockey mask was on Reddit.
Okay.
So, I mean,
we got to put it out there.
Exactly. Put it out there.
Listen, absolutely.
You know, I lean more towards the suicide just because of the proximity to where the body was.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that folklore, you know, people want a jazzed up story, right? So it's like you want this image, and somebody is going to say or create something like maybe he was wearing the mask, and we'll never know, which is part of the intrigue.
Yeah.
You know, but like people want that narrative.
Yeah.
For the obvious
believe
reasons,
it.
you know?
And the family wanted nothing out there to the public. Like, so there's...
I bet.
It's really like scraping bottom of the barrel to find anything unique about this,
Yeah.
you know? So basically, to wrap it up, because this is like the end of the episode, you know, personally what I find the most odd about this is just how multi-layered it is, and it's like a grand slam of bizarre.
Yeah.
You know, I don't personally blame the movies for this. I blame mental illness. I blame the system.
Absolutely. And we were just
Million
talking about this
percent.
with Jeffrey Dahmer, which that's a whole other topic for a whole
Yeah.
other day, but we were just talking about that as
Yeah,
well.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mental illness
Just before
and
we
not-
recorded this,
Not
yeah.
people or...
Yeah. It's just nature, nurture, mental illness, so many things combined.
And I'm glad, Jen, that you mentioned like Columbine, because I was in like 6th grade when Columbine happened. And the school, I went to a Catholic school. It was called St. Michael's in Union, New Jersey. So don't burn it down.
Yeah.
But basically,
Wink.
the nuns and everyone came after me, and they actually labeled me as like a Satanist, and they were right.
Yeah. Well, we are. Yeah.
But they also, you know, they targeted me because I had like, you know, Freddy Krueger on my notebook and all that other stuff. So, you know, I was basically labeled as like the next Columbine. So it's like, it goes both ways.
It
you know?
does.
It does.
The pendulum swings
I'm sorry that
both
happened
ways.
to you.
I know.
Oh, I'm not. Those kids were lame. They couldn't watch rated
I know.
R movies.
I know,
No,
but
I
still,
thought
like
they
the
were
fact
fucked
that
up,
like
though.
you were kind of getting labeled just for having Freddy Krueger on a notebook.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is like a popular movie, and people are so lame to be like, oh,
Exactly.
you know, people want to kill what they fear.
Oh, yeah. Well, and also, too, just with this case, I think it's odd because it involves like a questionable psychic.
Oh, yeah.
Identical twins, murder, slaughterhouse with weird
Everything.
imagery, a fake Jason Voorhees, you know?
Literally everything you can think of.
Yeah, truly.
In one story.
Yeah,
It's
really.
an all-you-can-eat buffet of weird.
That was
is.
really
Oh
that
my
was
God.
so good, Mark. That was
That is
amazing.
like, that was really fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was, yeah. And I've never heard of this
I've
story.
never heard of it either.
Wow.
There was just so many elements, so putting it together, it was very hard.
I can imagine, because you get into psychics, then
Yeah.
you have the movie aspect. You have
Satanic Panic. You
Yeah.
have this. Like, there's a lot
the
going on here.
80s, you know?
The 80s in general.
Yeah, really.
Halloween in general.
Yeah,
you know?
Halloween, absolutely. Wow. Well, I mean, if you want to stalk us as your favorite horror movie villain, maybe you can go to patreon.com/bizarrebuffet, and for $3 a month, you can get lots of things, deleted content. You'll get a pin. You'll
Designed
get
by Mark Torriello.
Yeah.
There you go.
Handmade by me, bitch.
Handmade. At the $10 tier, you get everything. You get drawings of your choice. You tell us what you want us to draw, we all draw it for you.
Blindfolded.
Blindfolded. Yes, most importantly, blindfolded. And you'll get a video of us doing such
And you also
blindfolded
get a
drawing.
video shout outs.
Yeah.
You
Yes,
do.
you
But
do.
make sure
On
you
top.
also follow us on Instagram.
Very
On
important.
Facebook.
Yes, absolutely. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. That helps us a whole fucking lot.
Subscribe
does.
to us on on YouTube. Hi.
Yes.
Hey,
Hi.
You can see us. in
Can
the
you see
flesh.
us?
We're waving.
Hi, we're here with you. Put your hand up. Yeah, we're here.
Hi.
Oh, I feel
Hi.
it. Do you
Touch
feel
us.
it?
Do you
I
feel
feel
us?
it. I feel it really.
I'm doing Reiki to you.
Oh my God.
God.
Reiki. Yeah, shout out to Reiki.
Shout out to Reagan and Julie Juice.
And love Jillian. She's great. But I guess with that being said, I'm Heather Langenkamp, the star of Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 1 and 3, and also the last one.
And I'm a scalpel.
Appropriate name.
And I'm Mrs. Voorhees.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Beautiful.
Jody Foster, taxi driver.